Hey, Dr. Kropf. So I'm going to try to work through this presentation here. I apologize in advance if my dog decides he wants to try to come in and get in on the action. He's very needy. Um, so oral summary number 2. I did the Sex in the City, Female Leaders and Spending on Social Welfare Programs in U.S. Municipalities by Mirja Holman. And kind of the big idea of it was, do women in politics tend to spend more on social services than males in politics? I chose this article after you sent it to me because I thought it was really relevant, because apart from like partisanship, I'm also going to be looking at gender and how that affects election expenditure. And going off that, my hypothesis for my research is that women will tend to have a higher effect on election expenditure. So if someone is a woman on a county commission board, then they will be more likely to spend more on election equipment. And I'm kind of going off that just because women have, a long history of being discriminated against. So by them spending more on election equipment, they might be trying to do more to make sure other people can get their voices heard. And then Holman's hypothesis for this article was that a female mayor will have a positive, significant influence on the city's participation in social welfare spending and on the overall rates of social welfare spending. The percentage of women on the city council will have a similar relationship. And as I'll explain later, I found her results pretty interesting. A lot more influence if a woman is a mayor as opposed to just like on the city council. So the methodology that she used, she had this list and of all the cities in America that had a population greater than 5,000 people. And then she chose 300 random cities from that list. So I thought that was a really good way to go about that. If I were her, the only thing I would have changed was maybe, increasing the population size, because 5,000 people still isn't all that great. But, I guess it does kind of account for more rural settings. So I definitely see where she was coming from. And just kind of going off of that, she wrote that the initial sample of cities ranged in size from 6,599 citizens to 1,953,631, with an average population of just under 43,000 per city. And then out of these cities that she did draw, women account for 18%, or there were 45 cities of the mayors in the sample. So I thought that was really interesting as well. Living in Charlotte, we do have a woman mayor. So I would be interested to kind of take this and examine, cities in North Carolina specifically, in Charlotte, to see if with Vi Lyles as mayor, if maybe we do spend more than other cities. But, has a lot to do, as she mentions in this, a lot with their budget that they make. Obviously a city like Charlotte's going to have a lot more leeway in their budget as compared to like my hometown Salisbury, where it's a lot more of a rural setting. And then she went about this. She obtained and coded each city's 2008 budget. She used that as her variable to look at spending on welfare services, and then looking at the level of funding for social welfare programs, including funding for health and human services, hospitals, welfare programs, community development, affordable housing, and child care and child welfare services. So actually, I was interning with Mecklenburg County this spring, and I thought that was really interesting reading a lot of the citizens' responses on what their priorities were, and a lot of them were, towards these social welfare programs. There were a lot specifically for affordable housing. I still have the files. That'd be something that I can maybe incorporate in a future study. But I did think it was really interesting that, obviously they weren't just males and female, they weren't just females taking that survey. So, a lot of people did have those same ideas. In the results, I included this little result table here that she had. And she wrote up, using a Tobit model, I find female mayors have a positive influence on the level of spending on social welfare programs. And also, in the absence of a female mayor, the level of female representation on the city council does not have an independent effect on social welfare spending, but the squared term of female council membership is significant and positive, suggesting a critical mass effect. So you can kind of see on that chart there, I'll go ahead and attach the slideshow as well so you can kind of follow along there. But this is a section talking about whether or not government should provide more or fewer services. And women actually, all the way across the board, they rank higher than men. So you can definitely see from that women do view that they should provide more services. And then in conclusion, just kind of after reading that article, only a profound effect when a woman is mayor, not necessarily just when there's a women council. They discuss kind of the relationship between like a mayor council or a council mayor government. And that's another thing too that I've been learning about with Dr. Barth and Foundations of Public Administration is, you know, learning about the various relationships. So that definitely helped having that background. Unless there is a large proportion of women on the council. So she did note that there was little to no effect, but once they reach a certain threshold, then there does start to become more of effect, kind of drawing off of the article from Dr. Moore, Dr. Shepard, and Dr. Pope. You know, once they hit that 56% threshold with the Republicans, then they did cut spending a lot more on election equipment. And then that's just my citation. So thank you. I hope you're staying safe out there.